2-minute heads up, okay?
Good. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here today. Joining me is Deputy Commissioner Brian Nadeau of our Public Integrity and Compliance Bureau and Chief Akani of our Public Integrity Bureau. We're here to release the body-worn camera footage from the police officer-involved shooting that occurred on Monday, August 5th in the unit block of North Stricker Street in our Southwest District. Let me start off by saying we recognize that any use of force by law enforcement lends itself to a high level of public criticism and concern. We take those concerns very seriously and are committed to continued conversation with the community. We don't have all the answers today because we're only a few days in the investigation, but we're committed to doing a thorough, transparent, and extensive investigation alongside the Attorney General's office. At this time, I will turn it over to Deputy Commissioner Nadeau to go over the body-worn camera footage.
Good afternoon. As the Commissioner stated, we're going to release the body-worn camera videos which shows a police officer involved shooting that took place on Monday, August 5th at approximately 9:20 p.m. Following our body-worn camera release policy, the videos have been given to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Attorney General's Office, and the Baltimore Office of Equity and Civil Rights. To put some context into what you're about to see, this past Monday, 4 of our District Action Team officers were in the area of West Fayette and North Strickler Street.
Sorry, they were not district action officers.
I'm sorry. North Stricker Street. They were responding to a report of a shooting that had taken place 1 hour earlier. They observed a group of individuals on a sidewalk. At least one of the officers observed a male, later ID'd as William Gardner, grabbing his waistband and doing what appeared to be a security check. This can be indicative of an individual who has a firearm in their waistband, and they're checking to make sure that it is still there, not falling or moving. At least one officer, Detective Zachary Ullman, exited his vehicle. As Detective Ullman started walking towards Gardner, Gardner turned and began to walk at a fast pace away from the detective. Another two detectives, Detective Devin Lomax and Detective Sheriff Kellogg, pulled up in their vehicle, and when they got close to Mr. Gardner, he began to run. Detective Ullman chased Mr. Gardner on foot, while his partner, Detective Thomas Smith, and the other two detectives chased in their vehicle. After turning down North Gilmore into an alleyway and then onto West Fairmont, they eventually made a turn onto North Stricker Street, and the detectives caught up to the individual. At this point, Detective Lomax had exited his vehicle and began to pursue him on foot as well. The vehicle you're about to watch is from various body-worn cameras, and the officers' names are located in the bottom right of the screen. We'll start by showing portions of the body-worn camera where you can see Mr. Gardner, the firearm is pointing the firearm towards the officers, and the officers discharging their weapons. We'll then show the full videos from start to finish, but I want to give you some context as to what you're going to see, as these events, as many events do, unfold very quickly. As a reminder, you did not hear some of the audio on the body-worn cameras. This is because there is a 1-minute buffer. Once an officer turns on the body-worn camera, audio and video starts to play immediately, but video from 1 minute prior is also captured. That's a shadow of the building. Those are the officers getting out of their vehicle. The firearm in his right hand and the cell phone that he has in his left hand. You can see the two moving towards the street as he falls. And that's the firearm in the top and the cell phone. That is a close-up of this firearm.
I will shoot you! Get on the ground! I'm in. I'm good. Ceasefire! Back up! Back up! Back up! still holding. He's still holding. He's still holding. You're gonna get shot! Get on the ground! You're gonna get shot! I will shoot you! You're gonna get shot! I will shoot you! Get on the ground! Get it, Yellow. Hey, Sarge, we got shot fired. We got shot fired. Hey, back up, back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Hey, police out.
After the incident, the officers and responding officers did do medical, attempted to resuscitate the individual. Medics were called. Unfortunately, was deceased at the scene. The firearm was a CZ P7 9mm weapon, and also this morning we have met with the family this morning to show them the video before it's being released this afternoon. And for information purposes, all officers involved in these types of events are assigned administrative duties, which is our protocol, and they've all been referred to our health and wellness program.
This is truly a tragic incident, and the investigation is ongoing. What we do know is that our detectives were in the area doing follow-up investigations due to recent gun violence and robberies being committed in the neighborhood. Just 1 hour prior to this incident, officers responded to discharging in the area where we believe two groups were shooting at each other. The group violence unit is part of the group violence reduction strategy and maintains a heavy presence in the Southwest and Western District. All the detectives involved were part of the group violence unit. Our neighborhood coordination officers have been active in the neighborhood, and our Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement has initiated a neighborhood stabilization effort following this incident. At this time, we will take questions.
I'll be looking for questions. We're going to start this way and work our way down. So we're going to start with Jeff at Channel 2.
Is this all standard procedure that anyone who goes around their waistband would draw this kind of, just take me through the characteristics of
There are several different characteristics, but we can't tell you what the officers saw because we haven't been able to interview them yet. But there are several things that they go through training at the academy. They even have names for them. I read some statement of probable causes. They'll do a security check, they'll do a stiff arm, there's heavy weight. There's a lot of things that the officers are trained to look for, not just one specific thing.
following up on that, but will that body-worn camera footage, or if it exists, of whatever the officer saw that started the initiation and the encounter with Gardner, does that become part of this?
Yeah, so we don't have body-worn camera footage of that because the officers at the time, because they were in their vehicle driving around looking, of course, as they mentioned, there was a shooting 1 hour before. They didn't have their body-worn cameras on at that point, which they weren't required to. Once they get out to engage, they should turn them on, but we don't have the video footage of that because that did not happen at the time.
Leah?
Yeah, sort of piggybacking on that, can you describe more in detail, like, so the officers were in the car and they saw him grab his waistband and then, like, what happened next? Like, what was the...
So the one officer who did not discharge has given a statement. So they observed the individual. Of course, they were looking for people that might have been involved in the shooting 1 hour prior. They observed the individual standing there. He was grabbing his waistband and fidgeting around. So they get out just to have a discussion or to walk up to them for whatever purpose. At that point, the individual started to walk away. As they got closer to him, he started to run away, and then he's the one that ran from the scene, which is why at that point they gave chase. While they're chasing, you can hear the officer say, he's still holding, which is indicative of somebody with a firearm. Then you can see when they caught up to him, he obviously has the firearm out. You can see it on the shadow of the building. Also, when he turns towards the officers, you can see he has a firearm in his hand. And then we did the slow motion to show, when they come up to him and try to take him into custody. He does get shot. As he's falling to the ground, you can see the firearm and a cell phone also, but both of them falling to the ground.
Yeah. Did he actually point it at the officers? Is that...
So you can see in the video he does point it at the officers that were in the car. Detective Kellogg, as he's getting out, you can see from the video, and I know we watch it 1,000 times, so you've only seen it once, but you can see back, he's moving him back to that point. right here. As he's turning around, he's pointing towards the officers that are getting out of the vehicle.
And then the other officers, like, back here?
The other officers behind him, so they'd come in a foot chase down the street, so one officer's behind him, that officer right there. He starts to back up as the individual's turning around.
Darcy, with the sign?
So, was this person, the 17-year-old, like a suspect in the shooting that had happened earlier? Was he, like, were officers engaging this particular group, or did they just chase him because he ran?
They came up, when the officers came up into the area, there were groups together. And what they had an hour prior was discharging of two separate groups shooting at each other. For whatever reason the officer saw that alerted them to that individual, he gave characteristics that indicated to the officers that he was armed. As the officers got out, he started to walk away, and then he started running. You can hear the officer say he's still holding, and if you look at the video, you can see his hand is clearly on something in his waistband, and that's characteristic of they don't have most of your suspects don't have holsters, so the gun has got to be held in place as they're running because it'll bounce or fall out.
I guess the question is, like, was this group that they saw on the corner a group that they were looking for, like, as potentially involved in the shooting, or was this just a random group that they came upon?
I don't know that right now. Most likely it was a random group that they came upon, but it is in the area. We've been getting the western southwest border where we've been getting shooting after shooting and robbery after robbery, and they were investigating the group when he displayed the characteristics.
Holly, General?
Yeah, I may have misunderstood, but I believe I heard in our story on this yesterday that there was an initial officer who engaged him. There was a struggle, and then he managed to flee, and then these group of officers engaged. Is that accurate?
No, that is not correct. So the initial officers, there's 4 officers, 2 in each vehicle. At least one, because again, we haven't spoken to the 3 that discharged yet because we can't speak to them yet, but when we do, we'll get their story. But the one officer who did not discharge, he is the one that's provided us the information that they saw the individual, what he was doing. He then got out to approach him. The individual started to walk away. He started to walk towards him, and then when he got into a foot chase, the other 2 vehicles that were there, one that he was in, and a separate vehicle that 2 other officers were in, began to chase him with vehicles because he was going through alleyways, which you can see where they caught up to him on Stricker Street.
Okay, so no prior struggle before this?
No prior struggle
Didn't
before
you
that.
guys say yesterday there was a brief struggle? Like, right
The
before
the struggle is right there as he gets to the scene.
Yeah,
The officer has a hold of him and he struggles and pulls away.
And just to be clear, that officer on foot struggling is not the one he's the only one who did not fire.
So the initial officer is Officer Allman, Detective Allman, who is chasing him. He comes to the scene at the end because the individual has gone through alleyways and he's looking for him. The other officers then see him running down the road, so they pull up alongside of him in their vehicle. Detective Allman is like a block behind them, so he comes to the end after it's over with, and then helps to render aid, etc.
Right, so we're gonna go to Keith at 5:45.
So, before I ask my question, to be clear on the struggle issue, initially there was a struggle, and then gunfire, right?
At the end, at the end.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a struggle. At the end, you can see where we started
You said
from.
one thing and the commissioner is shaking
Well,
his
it's
head.
just about, you can
Was
see
there
on the
struggle?
video, he goes to, if you should, let's slow the video down, you can see on the video the officer catches up to him.
So there was a struggle, then gunfire.
Within seconds of each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the question was there a struggle at the beginning when they
I
first saw
understand.
him? That's a West.
I understand.
Yeah.
So there was chase, struggle, gunfire. Okay. The question, Commissioner, please. Bottom line, I know it's preliminary, but bottom line, what does this footage reveal to you? Excessive force, or did your officers respond appropriately?
That's still part of the investigation, but the officers are chasing an individual who is clearly armed. They get up to the individual. They try to take him into custody. They warn him numerous times to drop the weapon. He doesn't drop the weapon. He turns and points the weapon towards the officer. The officers open fire.
So they acted appropriately.
It's still part of the investigation.
And follow up, please. there was a part of the video where several officers, one in particular, I'm going to shoot you. Get on the ground. You're going to get shot. I'm going to shoot you. Get on the ground. At what point did that officer see that that individual was armed to suggest that he's going to get shot?
We would have to talk to the officer, so we don't have that information right now.
So it's not clear if that officer knew whether or not he was armed when he was saying, I'm going to shoot you?
We haven't been able to talk to
Yeah,
him yet.
so you do hear on the video before that where he says he's still holding, he's still holding. The driver's saying that, so the passenger is the one you're speaking of, but the driver is saying he's still holding, he's still holding.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, we're gonna release.
About-
Yeah, sorry. We're gonna release the video to you guys shortly. Do you want to see it again before you leave? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Would you like us to turn the lights down as well?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll turn this light off. It will be some light that's still here.
This is the struggle that he mentions with the officer. It's slowed down so it doesn't look as fast.
I will shoot you! Get on the ground! I'm in. Ceasefire! Back up! Back up! He's still holding. He's still holding. He's still holding. You're gonna get shot! You're gonna get shot! You're gonna get shot! I will shoot you! Get on the ground! Getting yellow. Hey, Sarge, we got shot fired. We got shot fired. Hey, back up, back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Hey, hold it up.
I'm hanging out for any follow-up questions. One thing that Keith just asked, how many times was the individual shot? The autopsy confirmed he was shot 12 times. From our understanding, we found 18 shell casings that matched BPD's firearms. However, in a weapons inspection, there were 21 casings that were unaccounted for. That could happen if someone didn't fully put all of their bullets in, but right now, up to 21 shots were fired.
Did he ever discharge his weapon?
No,
He never fired a shot.
no, that's correct. He did not fire a shot. Right
But-
now, we
but
don't
it
have
was a loaded
any.
gun. The suspect or victim was loaded.
The weapon was loaded,
Yes.
yes.
Weapons loaded, it didn't fire. I know you guys haven't identified the victim, his mom has to me.
No, we have.
That,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good.
I guess I'm just wondering, like, have there been any discussions or will there about like the chase policy and like whether?
I mean, I think the PC and the deputy were very clear that this is still early on in our investigation. We do a very extensive investigation alongside the Attorney General's office. We're gonna be looking at everything from policy to use of force to all of that.
Okay.
And I heard you say, like they weren't DAT officers,
They were not.
just GVU?
They were GVU.
So I had thought GVU was staffed by DAT, but I guess there's other officers that do that too.
You might have to send me that in a follow-up.
Okay.
I know these officers were assigned to the gun violence unit, which is a part of the
gun
GVRF.
violence.
I'm not gun violence,
Okay.
group violence. Woo!
Group violence reduction unit?
Yeah, group violence.
Violence.
Yes.
Group violence unit is a subset of the GVRS strategy. And I apologize because my team knows that I keep saying gun when I know it's group. And so I learned that now I need to say group to know that it's group violence unit. So I apologize.
Do you know if anyone was injured in the shooting an hour earlier?
No, it was just discharged. We did not find a victim.